Hey gang, 100 years of friendship, 100 years since the last revolution, 100 years for most civilizations, and 100 years represents the age mark that most humans hope they'll live to. Well, guess what tonight is? It's 100 episodes of the UnPanderers. Join us. We're going to celebrate together.
Every episode.
Time loop.
So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. The taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles. All right, so we're going to do something a little different here after our 100th episode. It's been a while. I think we started this, what is it now? It's almost March 2019. And it was a hurricane, so that was September of 2017.
About a year, 4 months, 5 months?
A little more than that. Like almost a year and a half.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's kind of a crazy thing to think about.
It's weird. Did you buy me anything?
Was I supposed to?
I mean, you didn't have to. It's not a big deal, but it's a year and a half. I thought it was a big thing to you. But
I mean, I did buy you some things. Some things for your thing.
Some things.
So we're going to let's see if I can get this going here.
What are you going to do?
This is episode 26, an episode called Time. We just talked about time.
I remember that episode. Yeah, we talked about time.
Yeah. Some
How it's physical and manifested, and it was a weird episode. I remember it.
We'll look back.
I remember it like it was yesterday. Very familiar episode.
Let's see how this goes. So this is oh my. Let's see how I can just pull this up here, and then.
So I'm Dan.
I think that's us, man.
And we, as a together, as a duo, that's how we should do episodes. Form. Always in perfect unison.
Yeah, the unisyncrasy.
So, UnPanderers. I love that intro. That was even better. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, on
Panderers.
Our first dumper.
First thing is like the video is like the way I'm inserting myself into the video.
Yeah,
I think that was the only option I had, like left or right. Like I could pick like a corner or side or middle.
Yourself or move onto it.
Well, winter hit and they had.
We didn't have a logo at this time.
They'll be back.
No,
we didn't.
Didn't have the eyeball. I don't even think we had OBS, open broadcasting software.
Oh yeah. That was before that.
Conversational podcast.
It was before I had this
idea.
This camera. Well, you had this microphone actually.
Yeah, before I had this microphone, I had a Meteor, which wasn't that great. I have 3 cameras now. I had 1, maybe 2 at the time.
When you open your eyes,
oh yeah,
and it's quieter than it should be. You just know before you even look that snow is everywhere. Like this podcast, except with I still like some of the stuff we talk about. Like I don't know if anyone watches these episodes. It's like I'm going to skip time because they talk about time again on the 100th. You might want to check out time. You smile anyway. You wake up and you can see the light everywhere. You gotta be 18 you can, really wake up. Aren't ours. You can't sue us. No, I'm serious, but it just snowed near us. Unemploy us. How about that, employers? So try it. They called out school. Follow this. They called out school. Snow emergency yesterday.
Yeah, I love it.
No, 2 days ago. No, yesterday.
What did we?
Well, I drove to work
a little while.
by 9 a.m.
Nobody
It
did.
hadn't started snowing yet. It didn't even start.
Oh, they called it off before it even snowed?
Yeah, and I was like, this is surreal. I'm driving to work on a school day where everyone's off for snow, and it hasn't even snowed, and it's 9:01 or whatever.
Push their buttons.
Tell my boss I was late.
Sounds
Yes,
like the
I was
women.
supposed to be in by 9. I was in by 9.
The, how would you
Uh-huh.
rate the
Suck
3
it,
games
boss.
we played?
Are they watching you? Watching your time?
Destiny 2, Dead by Daylight.
Well, I mean,
maybe a third game.
Forest.
Oh, the Forest. That wasn't bad.
so
Forest had
everyone's
a
late to
unique
work at my
feel
job.
to it, but it was very
Right.
basic.
No one cares about getting in on
Shit.
time?
Dead by Daylight.
No,
I
it's-
thoroughly enjoyed it.
it's
commission.
When we played it, it was just like missing
Yeah,
something.
who cares?
It was.
So the
missing, like, the scene
manager
zone,
of
like
the
the jumping
managers
through the doorway
had
to
to
be like,
he came in at like 9 o'clock.
And
And
the killer,
customer
they
was there,
the killer.
and he had to help them.
Yeah. And then,
Folks, we were
Oh
not bad.
no! Did he get so mad?
Hold on. He got real mad because
And then
no
as
other
he
sales
came up-
reps came in, and not even the administration person
Hollow.
came in.
Yeah, very hollow.
So he reamed her out and made her cry, and he yelled at some other
Yeah,
people.
so
Whatever.
video game experts right here.
He's a person with a tiny.
broke it down for you.
Views.
What's another word for
Do you want
wiener?
to hear something?
Oh,
terrifying?
view of
That's called
life.
food doping.
Anyway, he's got a tiny view of life.
Let's do a video game.
Anyway,
Anyway, call
he,
it Smirk Smile. I don't know. I wasn't even planning on going here, but
Someone
I thought today.
the administration
He plays
girl, she was like,
Destiny,
"Can you
and,
tell
his
him
problem
someone's
is he
here to
never
see
gets
him?" And I was like,
people
"I don't
really
care.
doing
I'll
it.
tell him." So I go back. I tell him
He
he's got
needs
2
to do like
people
a
in his
nightfall
office.
or a raid
I didn't
or
see
whatever.
him.
He just
No
needs
problem. I was like, "All right, no big deal. Here they are.
Just like,
All right, see ya."
you know,
He goes,
he'll invite
"Hey,
people
Nick."
and then
And I
write
was
something like,
"Yeah,
"Hey, I'm
what?"
just trying to
He's
do a
like,
raid real quick."
"It's 9."
Or whatever.
And they're like,
And I
have
was
you done
like-
it before? And then like, Shh, no.
No,
he
it's
doesn't
like
get any
2.
help.
And he was like, "No, it's 9."
People
They're
don't
bots.
help him.
And I was
And
like,
I thought,
"The
that's
code
crazy.
to the
And I was
conference room? You want me to get
What
the
if
guy
I
in?"
was
And he goes, "We get here at
17, somewhere in
9."
that range, playing the game.
Because you were like,
I was like,
oh,
you
because
got
it's
me.
nine.
Oh,
You got it at
Mr.
9:01.
Big Shot.
What was your actual
Oh,
time?
Situation and like
It was like
capitalization.
9:15.
Can you help me with a raid real quick?
But
I
like,
should be like,
who
I'd be
does
like,
that?
Is this dude?
You wish you could have quit right there.
No, I wish I could have said, "Oh my god, I heard you had to
phone,
take care of
and
a
he was like,
customer. That must have been terrible."
You know, but I mean, maybe.
Oh my god, imagine if you had to do that full time. Oh my god.
Like you wouldn't know, would you?
Anyway, really, I had to get that off my chest.
I mean,
An old person doesn't know they're old.
But what are we talking
That's
about
true.
here in these
You-
episodes?
yeah.
So
Do you think you just
It's
there
a-
are ways you don't know you're
it's a
old?
different way
I
to
think
do
I'm
an
still
episode.
like
isn't
25 in my mind. Like,
Yeah.
I've gotten smarter
So we had a
with
different
knowledge,
format
but-
here. So we would have.
it? Did you like it or didn't you like it?
Find you online.
There
you
are
know.
pieces of comedy that come out of the way we did
They,
things that
yeah,
was
they-
very
they-
relevant to us.
Yeah, they do, like,
Dan,
I
and be
agree.
like, yep.
But I think you get
Get
kind
away
of
from the
stale on
creep
the
up.
relevant
We've
to
looked at
us
his
type of
YouTube
stuff.
channel. We've seen all his websites.
Because you have a story that might come up like that,
We know what this guy's into.
which I genuinely like.
We could
but
see his,
maybe once a month.
passwords written on
If
the-
we're recording
the
episodes
piece of
twice a
paper next
week,
to him because there's a reflection in the room somewhere.
it doesn't translate every
we
week.
wouldn't know, so that's kind of weird. Maybe we're already old.
So we had
Yeah,
what?
we're
Smirk
already
or Smile?
left out of things.
Yeah.
Passing by.
Smirker smiles. We had
Yeah, I look at
letters
my-
from the editor
my
or
son.
like letters from
Very
the,
young.
the
From the
public.
crowd.
He's a toddler.
Letters.
Corrections.
He just
Um,
enjoys everything so much.
Corrections from the last
And it's
episode.
just
We did
amazing
tongue twister.
that
We
he
did
enjoys- he's
Word of the
totally
day.
celebrity
enjoys all this time.
challenge.
And here's
Celebrity
my
challenge.
challenge.
Go
Word of the day.
Is that I let him run.
Would you
wild and free,
rather?
no nude.
Scenario.
I was like,
oh my
no
god, some good
diapers,
scenarios.
run, do the first thing you want to do.
Is that you?
No, I don't
the
think
first
so.
thing he did was went to the softest
Anyway, we had
stuffed
our
animal that he has, and he rubbed his body all over it.
Oh,
I'm talking about my son.
Yeah, it was a giraffe.
Physical pervert.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
you
giraffe.
son.
Ride the
You still
giraffe.
ride
Yeah.
that giraffe?
Taking
Grabbed
that
it by the
long
ears.
neck to Gravy Town. Right,
Yeah.
Stan?
He was like, I think he's more
He goes
direct
back,
now
He's going to hear about this. And
because
Yeah.
he was running around.
Opens the giraffe's mouth and just goes to town.
So
He was-
yeah.
running around
I
naked
feel like
today,
I have
and he was like
the
pulling at
adult
his penis, just
mind,
like, look, my
which is the
penis, and I'm
mature
like,
mind. I have the
Hey,
childlike
I
mind,
can't
and I
get
have
my
the
kid to stop
it's
pulling on
over,
that.
yeah, it's over
Like,
here.
It's gonna.
Left. I guess
which one
I
looks
want to
adult?
start a rumor that it's gonna fall off.
this is
Now I know where
there's
those
3 of them.
rumors
I didn't-
start from.
This is
Who
adult
started that? Everyone started
it's
that.
the trihemisphere.
You won't stop pulling.
And
on it.
so when he grabbed the tremisphere, when he grabbed that giraffe, I just thought, like, he had it right by the ears, and I just thought, deep throat.
I was afraid to say it. I was afraid to say deep throat because it's a
Well, I guess
pedophilic.
we were
type of thing.
new to the thing. We didn't know if we were going to curse. We didn't know.
we're gonna
That's
get
true.
We don't know.
Yep.
Is this
They
going to be a cursing podcast? Oh my god, they curse.
Well,
And
it's
the same
funny 'cause
cup.
I don't.
You know, but
Is it the same?
It's the
cup?
same cup.
Oh, nice shirt.
Well,
That's
whoever,
great.
what I
That's
was
a nice
wearing
shirt
back
you
then
got
was
there.
really stupid.
Did you
Yeah.
try to climb that pole, but it was greased and you fell off?
You just showed it off.
what
Yeah, what did I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that's the day after.
I did have headphones on though that made my stupid ass hair
still a little in disbelief.
And
what's funny is,
What's
I could
funny,
do a whole
Nick?
hour on this subject.
You could do it a whole hour on time.
Football is kind of.
I think we still could.
Not really, but like it's ingrained everywhere else I go, so I pay attention to it. Nice nose job there.
Oh, just yeah, you got.
Right on the mic, I like that. No, on the mic. But I'm used to them losing. I almost enjoy them losing.
It's funny because like now that we do these all the time, it's like back here. This was like us finding
your fandom is more real.
Kind of figure out what we're gonna do.
Like no one's like,
there's a level of awkwardness that goes away, and then you kind of have better thoughts, train of thought, and it kind of continues on.
I still miss some of the things that we left on the wayside in these kind of episodes. Like there's a cute funness to the awkwardness a little bit.
Shit at people. And it might actually be
shit around a little bit. It might not be as good for podcasting,
passionate, but they
every week
they're so used to not winning that it's almost like a badge of honor.
See, I feel like I don't know what we're talking about, even though like if I listened in, I could be like, oh, I get that. But like you have no
feeling.
Like we're talking about time.
Because I mean, most people have a championship or two or three or.
Have the Eagles won any championship?
We're talking about Philadelphia sports.
They won in 1948,
exactly.
60.
Ironically, I bet you I was talking about, the Philadelphia sports for an hour.
Super Bowl.
Okay. So they were 2 years early.
This is before we won.
So in terms of...
You felt it coming? Did you feel it coming?
Phillies.
I don't know.
08, and before that was 83, the Sixers.
And then Flyers.
No, I'm going over all the victories right here.
Yeah.
So,
well, and there's an 80. I think the Phillies won.
I changed my drapes too. A nice red.
Did one every 10 years. I could break it down.
I changed my guitar. If you notice, it's slightly to the left.
Mine is now over here.
Per sport, it's probably
trash.
140.
My first guitar, I had that when I was in like 7th grade.
Well,
wait, maybe.
It's like 7th grade.
Interesting.
Yeah. I remember the first thing I did is like pretended to play it while I lifted it up, and I had a fan on, and it hit the neck of the guitar, and I was like, oh. And then like I looked at it, it was like a little chip, and I was like, oh, that's okay.
Lasts longer.
Over time, it would warp and bend, so that was unplayable.
You love because it makes the time go by so slowly.
Sort of like your winning, right?
So he never wants to
unusable
because then before he does
unfeeling, unkind.
a year later, or
chip and bend later. A fan.
So if you leave
she shriveled away from him like his own penis shriveled away from women of the sexiest kind.
This way, the time.
Yeah, but ironically, it was an actual fan back then. Now it was a real fan, right?
And what's interesting is this Eagles postseason is going quicker.
No idea where you're going with a fan of a fan.
Remember, like
no,
I didn't watch the game, but
Umper. Do you know this is the episode where we announced
they were good games?
Did we really?
Now,
it was in the very beginning. We said if you're a fan of the show, you're actually
like I went out and raised holy hell.
So I could barely read the watermark, so I was hard to go to the website and tell how many umpers we had at the time. But
throwing bottles places, giving us a bad name.
A shitty watermark, man.
I don't know. I would have done anything. Someone punched the horse. For the record, you looked at me like, God. No, someone got arrested for punching a horse.
Wow.
Our audio is like, you can tell like there's like slight pops maybe. Not pops, but it was like,
but it's like
it throttles the voice.
Quick for me to even soak it all
right,
in.
like anytime we're laughing or both doing something, it kind of like peaks.
I think we were aware of that at the time, so we didn't full on laugh. But now we can really hit it.
And scream and break something.
Us having some good belly laughs now that we're older.
And that's almost like sweet justice. We'll win it, and I won't even enjoy it as much as I enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hold on. What we're talking
I think you talked about not enjoying it as much when you won.
Because it happened too fast.
There's nothing like almost
I'm used to always chasing the carrot that's dangling. I'm not used to getting the carrot.
Yeah.
So if you're chasing a carrot for 14 years, and then all of a sudden someone says, you can have it.
No.
You'll eat it, and it's delicious.
Well, this could be revenge.
You've been chasing it for 14 years. It took you like just 4 minutes to eat it, and then you're done.
But
you're like,
give me another carrot.
Now what?
My ex-girlfriend.
What do I do now?
Same carrot.
You just chase this carrot. You're done. That's it.
So I was watching it in her school in University of Scranton.
It's like Brady seeing it, like winning it for like the 6th time. Is that 6th time or 7th time?
And so mad.
6, because it moved to a second thing.
Vacuum cleaner.
Oh. And he was so joyous to get that 6th one. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like 6 times of everything but sex.
Well, do you know why? Because I think that puts him in every few years, like unique category. Like there's fewer people with 6 than 5.
He's that much better.
Way fewer. Like there's almost like 3 people.
Because I broke up with Megan, I know it's not like a friendly LOL. It's like she's gonna come get me for a vacuum cleaner one day.
Every year it gets.
We had different jobs at this time.
If both of us did, I put money on the Eagles to win, and I win money, I should buy her a vacuum.
Did you buy her a vacuum?
But make sure that you can like etch an Eagles emblem on it.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
that's her name's
vacuum. I don't really.
Kate will call her, or Kate F, or Kate F.
She got more money than God.
But anyway, that's her.
Oh, she owed you a vacuum.
Anyway, that's sorry.
I remember this story.
I broke her vacuum.
You
dark despicable.
I literally shattered a girl's vacuum.
Okay. I kind of wish that. I remember watching
back in like 03 or
same thing in college. Watching the Flyers, they beat
07.
They beat. I feel like they beat the Penguins or Tampa Bay in like 7 games.
Maybe both.
Oh, Tampa Bay series.
I think they beat the Penguins and then they beat Tampa Bay.
That was Tampa.
I remember.
I believe in one of those.
I remember watching that. In like the communal area, and
I know that was amazing. You remember that?
Most excited I've ever been about.
Primo hit it off his boot and then across the net mount and then swung around
the creek. Yeah, oh my god! And then landed in himself.
Singular enjoyment by
I've never seen a goal like that ever.
That's why it felt better for you.
Because you had to revel
Supremo. That's what the Daily News, Philadelphia Daily News, said on the cover.
Encumbers the group's happiness. Because
I know this for a fact. Because my mother bought the newspaper the next day and tried to get it.
I almost broke a window by launching myself at it.
Who keeps newspapers, Mom?
In a good window.
To this day, I majored in newspapers, and
you kept your piece of paper.
I love hockey. If they
no one cared about it.
Like that
your degree. I'm talking about your degree.
Yeah.
That piece of paper. I also threw that away. I mean, honestly,
who asked for
these pieces of paper?
If I didn't die, yeah.
What are you jealous of your previous self right here?
Pretty painful.
I don't know. It's weird.
You don't feel pain in the past.
It's more youthful, but it's sloppier.
It is definitely sloppier. We don't have really concise points. We're kind of going back and forth. You can tell we have a good friendship, but we don't know.
Episode or anything?
You can tell we Frenched. Girls. French some girls.
We have. We have French girls.
You hardly ever do, Dan.
Yeah,
you hardly ever do.
I'm perfect.
That's why I like you.
I'll correct that.
Like, that's good. That's good back and forth. That's good. See, I think deep down, if you knew us both, and you knew what we're going through, and you knew what's going on inside our heads, these interplays are actually even better than you think. You might think, they're really funny. Yeah. They're really funny.
Manga
and know us. You have to.
They weren't around at the time.
I want desperately to have like a nighttime talk show where it's both of us as the host, and then the guest sits in the middle, and the guest has to constantly look left and right.
Constantly look left and right. That would be really good. I would like that. Of course I would.
It's got
go up. It's got extra arms.
This is before we did any interviews.
I kind of hold on a second. I had to see if Amazon
has when it was just us two.
Yeah.
A Nazi body pillow?
Yeah. I feel like it might be a thing.
They're coming back.
Waifu?
I feel like they might.
Yeah.
We're talking about waifus.
Regular pillow.
That makes sense.
Around your body.
I feel like we would touch on
like that's like
eventually, right?
for like maybe like 2 or 3 pregnant women. Like it was a giant.
They'd share it?
Yeah.
Because they're all impregnated by Nazis.
Yeah. There is a picture of a guy in between. Okay, I'll just stop. I'll close that window.
I have to.
Too distracted.
That's rude to the listener. I can't just not. I can't cut it off.
Nazi garb and 2 hentai picture.
And watch me. I bet I reach for it a little more. Hey, can you tell us how to Google to get there?
All right, I have a scenario for you.
Oh yeah,
I skip right over it.
Oh, scenario.
You're walking your dog. It's like Wednesday. It's Thursday. I don't even know.
I know this one. Where he says, "Don't take Lucine Boulevard or you'll die."
Like 6 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's still cold.
Your dog says that?
You want to be here.
Yeah. This is a good one. Listen to this guy.
You're walking. It's sniffing around like it's about to poop, and you're looking the other way. When you turn back, the dog is sitting on its butt like a human and staring at you. And it says, "Go into your office and quit your job tomorrow."
Quit your job.
It says this. And you stare at it for a few seconds. And then it goes back to sniffing and it poops eventually. And you're talking to it. You're like, "Hello, did you say something? Hello, dog.
You speak English?
Dog.
You just speak English? Can you talk? You would make me so much money."
I don't think I can. You think that's a message?
And you're not going to quit your job. Honestly, everyone at home,
no idea.
You're not.
Yeah, probably not. But if he, what kind of dog? German Shepherd?
Quitting your job is a big deal. What if it said, "Don't take 70-pound pike tomorrow"?
You dialed it down a little bit.
Because you're like, that's a street.
Well, because obviously
there's a gap there.
Would you totally be like, I didn't hear anything, but I'm just taking Morris Road?
Looking at myself,
say it in your voice, or just say it in someone else's voice. Is it British? Because
it's a new
British people do have more sweat. You're absolutely correct.
Looking at myself, I look at myself as like having that old job.
I don't know. I mean,
and I think about like the changes that I had over the past year and a half.
Right? That day, maybe for a day.
You look like you have your old job.
But now, what if it's like
I look kind of like
quit your job, right?
You're younger by a year. Does that
change? It's got a lot of weight to it.
I don't know how easy I have it at this point in my life, and like the amount of work that I did was so minimal.
What's the middle ground?
You added a kid.
I added a kid too. Oh shit! I forgot about the kid. A whole child.
What?
This is the last thing we think about as men.
Really, dog? No, because it has to have something that's like an instantaneous thing. Like, don't do.
I like not having
make
talk.
Sure you play this number. Oh, lottery. I play a lottery number.
I was a talker more back then. Even
that tells you to. I mean, whatever.
Well,
I told you to.
I've noticed that now I can hold weight with people who are like the center of attention in a group. Like it used to be that I would like shy away and listen.
Hoggy people.
Well, there's some people that have strong conversational skills.
I can't.
And like I feel like I match them and I make them laugh at the same time, which I never really did. Plus the dynamics of my job are different as well. That there's younger people who are funnier.
It usually doesn't involve.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then
I think you've healed
this podcast.
The possibilities
of it, a progression, a growth. I don't know.
Time,
a memory,
passing of time.
Over time. I think a memory allows you to access the hurt part.
What's crazy is I don't remember this at all.
Correct.
If you asked me what we talked about in the time episode, I'd be like,
you could separate the two. Well, maybe you can.
If someone said, "Hey, I learned that about you," I'd be like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how you know that."
Well, because we didn't tie in the main topic with the smoke smile, the celebrity challenge, the tongue twisters.
It's not a possibility.
They're not all time related.
No, not at all. But even if
go back to your dog,
we did it the opposite way. I don't think they would, but they're all separate to
pancreas. Would you go ahead and get a scan?
Like
that takes some time, costs some money.
It does. You could set it up though.
I didn't know that was in time.
Hey doc, can you just X-ray for cancer, MRI?
What about some of the things we did?
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying.
There's one about.
It's funny.
Like pound daddies.
I think I might have cancer.
Like I think that joke kind of came out of this style. Also, there's one about like the.
Because you're not going to believe
the drive-through clerk who says something obscene, but you just go along with it.
If it's like,
and then he one-ups you.
Yeah.
Oh, penis or sprinkles?
Yeah.
Well, I want some penis.
I'd like this exploratory surgery, doc. I don't know what I have.
Oh, yeah, you do. And then you go, why wouldn't I right now? And then he slowly scoops the peanuts.
I just want to take pictures and put them on YouTube.
He's staring at it.
The whole thing. Inside and out.
He shakes his now shortened hair. That's how you brush your teeth.
Have you ever in your entire life, by perjury of a grand jury, ever done cocaine?
Circumstance that I
cocaine
could bring up?
Yeah.
So the government's
it was spring break.
You can do whatever the hell you want.
And we had
these go into too much detail. I don't know if the court's watching this, but
they usually
there were these older gentlemen.
They're not allowed to do any work whatsoever.
Probably in their mid-20s, and we were like, I was like 21 at the time.
They don't take their vacation.
Oh, okay. What do you say?
There were probably like 3 or 4 of my friends in their condo hanging out.
No,
they poured cocaine out in front of all of us.
Don't get paid and
said, "Who wants some?" And
they get retro pay. Everyone.
I don't know. Like that doesn't seem.
Last time it happened, they got retro pay for like a week.
So I'm one for doing anything
a day. They're probably
at least once, except that. So I never did that. I just kind of looked at it and was like,
and I'm
I gotta go.
To do normal work.
I bounced.
While all these
but the next morning, one of our friends stayed the night at their place, came down with one of their shirts on, like it was a nightie,
4 hours,
and like he just like had this weird smile on his face, like he had the best night of his life.
So they at 4 hours, everyone left.
Weird.
And I'm sitting there, my contractor is telling me that
I have this dead look in my eyes I keep seeing.
All of the federal facilities that
you see my dead look?
Isn't this like illegal? Like,
no, I'm remember.
Oh yeah, you don't have
my video feed of it. But anyway,
do I have a dead look in my eyes? Do you remember you having a dead look in my eyes?
Really,
I do. I remember this episode. You had a dead look.
Oh yeah, thank you.
No, I do not recall it.
It's the corporate shill mentality where you're just
I think I was trying too hard.
the best you can. It's like
corporate
that doesn't
shill
mean anything.
Can't do it with anyone else here.
Yeah, there's 4 people in the office when there's usually 100. I don't know what the hell's going on. So, I am working.
Now that I will agree with you. This whole format, like, how long has this episode been going on? We haven't gotten the time yet.
Yeah.
That would not.
You know what you could say to them, right?
No, I do not.
As they walk by, the word of the day.
What might that be?
Word of the day.
Tinkerty tonk.
Tinkerty tonk. Tinkerty tonk.
An old-fashioned way of
I need to start saying that.
Tinkerty tonk.
Tinkerty
I'm
tonk.
not sure what nationality started it.
What does it mean, Nick?
Tinkerty tonk. It sounds funny.
That's the way I say it.
How, use that in a sentence.
Tinkerty
Can you just like say it like a
I think
word?
it's just a phrase. Like, hey, see ya. Tinkerty tonk. You gotta use your
Tinkerty tonk. I'll see you later.
It's very
Tinkerty
finger.
tonk. Tinkerty tonk.
Give me the old tinkerty tonk.
you
They're
up,
gonna be
so
like,
I
what do you
can
mean,
hear
granddad?
See?
What was that? I forgot about
If I
that.
did that in the office, they'd be like,
Yeah, the noises
You're
that
fired.
yeah.
friendship noises.
Unless it's like you do it to the oldest guy in the office, and he's like, oh, finally, tinkly tongue, tinkly. It's like,
Whoa.
now I gotta do that every time I see him.
Tinkerty tonk.
Tinkly tongue.
Tinkerty tonk.
That was pleasant.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
There's no way to say it in a masculine way, which I think is what makes it fun.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
did stem cell research on your daughter. Her cells will be used to help
Real
future
quick, For
generations.
the podcast.
Tinkerty tonk.
So Tinkerty tonk is a goodbye, and it's usually Tinkerty tonk old fruit,
Are you wearing
or
it right now?
or Toodle Pip old bean.
Well, how we damn.
Tutor Pip old bean.
Turns out,
Toodle
according
Pip.
to the news,
Toodle Pip old bean.
1000X.
Tutor Pip old bean.
Really? Just came out about a month or two ago.
Wow.
Sounds like we're trending on the gay.
Sony's,
Oh man, that is that gay? I don't even know if it's gay.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, they have more
Wireless
expressive
noise
things
canceling.
than we do, and I feel like if we
Nice.
steal it,
Yeah.
we're appropriating their stuff.
You know, Bose has had a stranglehold on the economy.
Tinkerty tonk.
CQ25.
CQ25s.
Yeah.
No, do you know I had them for 24
No one
hours
can
and
match
return them?
that.
The ones I was wearing have been returned.
Oh, yeah?
Someone at home might be
Well,
wearing these.
Sony may have
This
actually
is
won
not
up them
them.
here. It's in the same price point, except that this one has
Active noise
Wow.
Sense Engine.
It looks like you just bought that.
What's that?
Did you just buy that?
Yeah, I just bought it today.
Oh, wow.
My greasy
Oh,
ass hair
convenient.
was
How much
touching
did you-
your headphones. Someone at
$350.
$3.50.
350.
Going up.
Burr.
300
What did you buy after that?
cents.
More? Less?
And you just went down.
More by not much, but
Literally
the
Yeah.
No, I had 180.
The Bowers and Wilkins
$89
ones that I have.
Oh,
The gold
so
ones?
you paid half price. That's
yeah,
what you're saying.
Yeah.
They do look
Yeah,
like they're worth
exactly.
more.
I haven't decided if I'm keeping them, but they're actually really.
they're so good.
They're like.
But
Here's the issue.
they're so impractical. Like, where do I wear noise
I think
canceling
noise
headphones that
canceling is really
cut
cool.
off my entire
They need
isolation
it,
from the
but,
world? Like,
I got money to burn.
We talked about this. It's the bubble. It's the bubble that
I know.
protects you from your girlfriend.
Was taking a bath.
right? And every time I wear them, she said, "Are you yelling your name? I was asking for a glass."
Filling the tub. I could hear him making noises in there.
Couldn't you hear your child screaming?
Oh, it's like,
Closing my
no, I
eyes.
couldn't.
Why I bought them?
I was like, "You can be drunk."
Yeah,
He's good.
you got this
And then we
one.
do this again. I'd be like, he's good.
He was
You're rocking
playing.
yourself to sleep.
But like,
He was
but I couldn't
playing.
enjoy myself because. And then I started doing the dishes with him,
Oh
and
my
I couldn't
god.
hear the TV in the background, him playing, and I just kept picturing my nagging, awful girlfriend in the hallway screaming, "Are you listening to me? Are you listening?" And me just smiling and cleaning dishes and being like, "Oh my god!" But like, it's almost like they're too good for me.
Oh,
They might not be too good
This
for
is
other
exactly what we
They're
touched
too
on.
good.
How
Yeah.
weird is this?
Oh.
I remembered that.
Wow. Who are you
I
gonna
know, but I didn't know it was
put
this
them in a box
episode.
and ship them to me? They might be good enough for me.
Yeah, you were like, who cares about this? Now you're like, ooh, they sound nice.
I really want to zone out
shipping
my
them
entire
to you.
family and just be able to really enjoy my time on the earth.
If I'm being honest, I actually bought the Bose CQ35s today, which are the exact same price. And I came home and did all my Reddit homework, which I had kind of been doing for a week.
The honest part of
it was like, if you're on the fence, just buy the Sonys. They have a better sound quality. The only thing the Bose one offers is they feel nicer on your ears, but this one has like 5 hours more battery life.
40 minutes in, we haven't talked about time.
I know.
You can customize,
and I love these episodes.
It's just they're not, and then it has really good like sound quality.
It's better to have like the lack of focus at the end. So if someone's actually listening like more than 30 minutes,
they'll check it out by the end.
Yeah, they can choose to check out, but still feel like they got what they wanted.
Correct. It also has,
that makes sense.
You can input if you want. It also is future-proofed because Bose runs on aptX Bluetooth.
Man, you get all the words.
aptX.
Listen, when you do as much research as I do, I'm not spending $350 on headphones where I don't know what the F every piece does. But these also support LDAC.
Do you want
the next?
I know we never do this.
It's just a higher fidelity Bluetooth.
That's fine.
So it isn't out yet.
Let's get to time. Why don't we?
Look at the
time. No,
how much time?
Maybe we shouldn't because it'll mess with our time episode.
Most people say they keep their like really nice 300 plus headphones for like 7 years, 4 years.
If you choose, I can skip ahead by a certain amount.
Replace
the episode is another hour long, so that does put us quite ahead.
House for 7 years.
We have to make each episode after this shorter.
No.
This episode is
we could do that, but we can't make material from an old episode. So might as well just
type in the product code.
You know what I'm saying?
Pander for.
If we cut this out, we always have enough material.
Yeah.
Get all those.
If we skip it,
really
might
cool
be
thing about
short
these.
for something.
Oh, those are
if you're wearing
glasses.
Or you get these things. Like and the noise canceling.
I put on
anything. Like you could be talking to me. I'd be
glasses
like this,
with a red reflection, which I had. I had here until a week ago,
hold my right hand
and then I moved them downstairs because I might actually use them.
All music and turn.
You get no
microphone. So it's like
wow. They don't look as good as I thought.
And it's like it's cool. I got a review of them. I think it's pretty awesome.
I have a feeling that like halfway through we fade on this episode. We might start talking about time. Actually,
well, the problem is
the other end of the spectrum.
You talk about like parse
the visual.
Yeah.
What is time?
Talk about clocks. I think I started talking about the types of clocks they made to measure time, and then physics. How do you?
Yeah, no. For $50, I got 3 of these sets.
Does time get what we know as smaller?
I wrapped the third one as a gift for my wife for Christmas.
Which is the bigger dynamic?
A box on that one as well.
Smaller amounts of time.
You got 11 months to get them, huh?
I don't even know what you mean by smaller or larger amount of time.
Old. I wanted to do this last podcast.
Denominations.
Dilly-dallying.
We start thinking in years versus months versus days.
Yeah.
No.
Tinkerty-talk.
What's the longest denomination of time?
Tinkerty-talk.
That's eons, and then beyond that, it's like parsec eons, and beyond that, it's like a couple light years, and beyond that, it's this.
I thought they'd be too flashy.
Complex of light years
every day.
And then when we talk about smaller and smaller increments of time, we can get down to
strangers.
Yeah,
like
complete strangers.
Which is the greater value?
I don't wear the red ones. I have like blue tint.
A second,
like looking at myself, it looks like Doom.
Or
like this is the coloration that Doom has.
A billion years into a billion years.
That doesn't matter. Are you saying like time travel because you can make it faster versus like dissecting time so you can make your life longer?
It does.
That's what I'm hearing.
I can't do both.
No.
There's 2 cameras
just,
actually.
What's the greatest unit measurement?
Yeah,
there you go.
Is
you can see it has a blue tint because this one's
measure
red,
so small it's ridiculous. It's like
I want
1 million times.
But it's 100% UAV, UVA, UVB, all that jazz.
Yeah,
is it smaller?
It's very light. Waves gear. They float in water, which I never go into.
That's what I'm asking.
So I don't have a use for it. But I'm like a vampire or something. I don't know.
Texas could have used them a few months ago.
I should have got them.
I think the smaller in time matters more because the more you can go small, the more you can go big. Because it's a technological advantage.
Yeah.
Right. No. I 100% agree with that. I don't disagree. I'm saying,
head.
have we been able to measure in smaller units of time or larger units of time? Well, I guess we can measure larger, so it's fine.
Because we're not sponsored in
Yeah,
any way by...
What more?
But if we were,
all the measures of time that are larger are like distance time, like light years.
A few $1,000.
Like what's the largest measure of time?
They're going to give us some money in retrospect
after
they've already made their money at millions.
Is it Jiffy?
Premium leather.
I thought a GIF was a short period of time.
Okay, that's
we do it in Jiffy.
Like they're in a Jiffy.
Panderers.
I thought it was a fraction of a second.
Yeah.
It's so funny
we're not selling any of this crap. We're just liking it.
So we done the episode?
Or I think we run out of time.
Time for light to travel 1 Fermi, which is approximately the size of a nucleon.
All the way back.
Holy
shit, that's time.
That's the shortest amount of time you can have.
I use the word a lot this episode.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's 3 times 10 to the negative 24 seconds.
All right, now hold on. Here's my literal question. So what about 3 times 10 to the negative 26? Can we not measure that? Is that the idea?
But we missed this.
Again, this is like a theoretical thing, though, because you're measuring something that happens within, like, atomic distances.
Right.
So the fastest thing, shortest distance,
right?
A cup or pooping or something.
What about the time it takes to travel a radius?
It was a celebrity challenge. Everyone screamed, but it was butter building, where you build something.
You're gonna say
you have to churn it yourself.
Eat it.
Be a challenge.
No. You buy the sticks.
You have to eat the butter.
Animals. Buy the sticks. That can be salted or unsalted, your choice. And I wanted Celine Dion to take on Cher. See the rightful turn back time. If I could find I forget all her songs, but you know what I'm saying. they could butter off. The crazy thing
if I could turn back
time. You build a sculpture, you want to build a house, like a Lego house, whatever. And then you have double the time to build it to eat it all.
Wow.
That's
pretty good.
I knew you would.
I was envisioning
this is a weird type of journal,
side-by-side celebrity challenge.
Here's the trick.
I remember it, and do remember it, but don't. But I don't know how to.
But I want this to happen.
I think about myself and what I didn't know was coming.
And Emerald
like there's no way I would have known the future at this point,
in butter
and I can fill in the blanks for what was coming.
Double celebrity challenge.
This ties into whether we listen to our episodes or not.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a reflection.
I'll listen, but I don't
holy smokes.
listen so many times that I
That would just be a ridiculous celebrity challenge. That which
it's
a combination of memory and
donate to charity. I don't even know what you're donating.
Like I remember the conversation.
There's 2 charities involved. One of them necessarily how we got there. The other one has to be for
sunburn.
I remember like the key points. Like when you mention certain things, it fires off something that like I knew you were talking about.
Individual words or sentences like will literally strike out at me, and I'm like,
so main topic.
That's the way you put it together.
Time. Folks,
but I don't remember how we got there.
It's time for what?
Time for time. It's a big topic.
We spent 40 minutes or something before we got to time. I think we said that after we recapped and said it took too long to get to time.
You can kick it off.
The origin of time.
Origin of time.
Back where did time start?
13th century. They started making like crazy clocks.
I'm listening to these guys. They're good.
Just sundials?
Well, the sundials go back way, way back. So the origin, I'm going to jump around.
It's like a Mayan calendar.
There's a lot of different aspects of time.
Which time is really based off the universe, right? This is the rotation of the planets, the Earth, the Sun.
The day has 24 hours in it.
You say the universe, but I think just the solar system, right?
10 different
we don't care about the other things. It's just our
and then they added an hour before and an hour after.
Yeah, but you can also tell, like, via the stars in the sky that there's a rotation happening.
How did they know the night was passing as long as the day was passing? That's
procession.
I don't think they did. I think they just knew
the wobble.
The day was. Because that
the Earth is wobbling.
Because of the lunar cycle.
Well, we're not getting off. Now we are jumping around.
The lunar cycle is a month, though.
It is a month. You questioned me on this.
I know. I didn't question you.
A month by how often the
review the tape.
Rotated the.
Hold on. Let's listen.
Wait.
So naturally,
I think it's the shading of the moon.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, before you get corrected here.
Yeah.
Before you get corrected here.
Moon Nazis show up. It's all big Wolfenstein 2, folks. Or Doom.
Nazis on a lot of games.
There are.
We came back to Nazis a lot in the early years. I think we hated Nazis that much.
I think everyone hates Nazis.
I've done it in real life.
I think it's easy to hate Nazis.
Anyway.
Edit
that out there.
I'm not going to edit that out.
Oh, well.
That's how we get our viewership.
The Nazis.
Yeah, our edge.
So weird. I see because we hated Nazis.
I don't think so.
A Nazi pillow.
Nazi waifu.
So let's break time down naturalistically. Everyone knows there's night and day, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't know they're exactly the same length or not the same length or whatever.
Yeah.
This guy's my favorite member.
Down lunar cycles a month, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Now,
Do you think
also you understand
people pick a favorite when they're watching us?
That's 4 seasons.
That's what my questionnaire. Oh, I need to send Kayleen the questionnaire.
You can do that. Stop. Is there anything after that that's naturally occurring that you can see?
Do you think people have to pick a favorite when they're watching these things, or do you think it's just like some people do, some don't?
This is where somehow they knew. Because
I have a feeling that people like you
about different.
But there's definitely a likability factor. I will give to me. I will argue for it.
Like the Olympics.
My question is, can't you just watch it?
Somehow
and
they knew that they wanted to break it down into 4 years. So maybe there's a cyclic element.
What's the thing going on? Like, is there
4 years? Maybe
I feel like the people that will continually listen, that actually are like a part of a viewership, like us both, but like the interplay between both of us.
Winter was the longest, 1 year.
Right. That makes sense.
1 year summer was longest, 1 year spring was longest by a day or two, and then they just repeat.
Yeah, because
the interplay between two people is unique. I feel like people aren't as unique as
calculators.
I agree. I was trying to figure things out.
I don't disagree.
I don't know, but those are the obvious ones, right?
Yeah, at a certain point, it becomes more of a mathematical exercise to figure other elements out about the world, like the physics about world or.
And I figured out why they hate you.
It's math. Take for something.
Math. I remember the worst math thing I did was the amount of water that you needed to like water your own land.
Yeah, and bring it and carry it and transport it and everything.
Yeah,
I remember this.
When you start talking about
just listening to this
and see this, they use the stars a lot, didn't they?
4 weeks ago.
Really?
Right?
I did the math, but it was like brutal. Like it would take all year to pretty much go to the sea and get water and bring it back. There was a thing about water that we missed in that episode.
23.6.
It was the creation of stuff that water uses.
I'm gonna research 3.9 or 24.5.
Yeah,
24.9.
We're doing some sort of stupid math here.
No, it's 23
but
something.
Like your clothes are made of cotton, right?
Let the record show.
So like cotton requires a ton of water. So just by wearing this shirt, it's like an absurd amount of water was needed to grow the shirt. It was like thousands of gallons of water were needed.
Wobbling.
So you would be naked.
Whoa, wobble! I heard it.
Procession.
We were talking about procession.
I mean,
is that a yearly thing that it rotates like on a wobble, or does it wobble and rotate? Maybe that's how they got more years out of it. Or should have
Mayan calendar.
Oh yeah, because isn't there something that a top does called
recession?
That happens because the wobble is so slow.
Yeah,
like it can be spinning, but the wobble goes slower.
Yeah, have you ever seen the procession of items on ISS, International Space Station?
I think I said 90 minutes, and it should be 30 minutes.
Yeah, I forget what object it was, but they spin it, and it's like normally spinning, and then the procession comes like it gets a little bit out of whack, so it kind of resets
a little bit.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. It changes a lot. It changes like 90 degrees, and then starts spinning the other way, and then it undoes itself.
If you've never seen this video, you should.
Oh, we're gonna check that out. No, I did not see that. Interesting. I did not see it.
I did Nazi say that. Did I say Nazi?
I've been Nazi'd.
So, all right.
You did.
Let's break it down in a different direction.
Sure, spin it.
Same item. Do you know what 1 second is?
The atomic clock.
There's a lot of ways to define that.
Yeah, but what
counts, which I find...
I went atomic clock with this one.
No.
Average.
It's like the
incredibly what everyone knows.
The vibrations
of vibrations of a cesium atom.
One Mississippi.
Cesium 132.
8. It's really close.
Might be 138.
You ask any kid on the street, "Hey Billy, hey Bobby, hey Jihad," whatever kid you're talking to. Yeah. It depends where you're from. We have a lot of Jihads here. 1 second, and they always say, "That's just 9,192,631,770 cycles of the radiation between 2 levels of cesium-133."
Exactly 133.
My man won.
And I always look at my team and make sure they got the number right, and usually they do.
It is 9 million.
The kids in here are smart.
Super smart. Yeah, it says cesium atom changing states. So every... It's actually the radio frequency they hit it with.
So hold on, what do? They hit it with a radio frequency and it what?
Yeah. So the frequency is like exactly timed so that the cesium atom gives off the right amount of energy, and they measure the energy to prove that the frequency of the radio is timed to the cesium atom.
I'm not disagreeing with that at all. Are you shaking? Are you getting all into this?
I don't know if that's arm.
Oh, yeah, you're getting arm on the damn desk. But
I'm reading right now.
Here's my question. So which came first?
Because we didn't really cover the history of the second.
Second.
We spent
because I don't think
minutes
a lot
introing
of the Greeks or anybody were measuring
like the definition of the second.
I don't know where the original second came from.
It's 9 million of the cesium atom.
Smallest, like the only
decay or whatever.
things I looked at were different version of clocks.
Oh, like where it came from.
It seemed like they were just
like why did they pick
even intervals
24 hours, 60 minutes?
To figure out like
I guess your
60 seconds to a minute.
Find out an hour or a day. I guess a day is almost easier. Except every day is different length. But if you broke a day down and then tried to divide the day into 12 and then divide that into 60 and then divide that into 60, like you would get a second that way, right? Did I do that math right?
Yeah. And then we start modeling different types of clocks.
Sexagismal
water clock with a
division of the day
water
by ancient calendars. Sexagismal.
The Eagles are going to the Super Bowl.
Sorry.
Y'all can suck it.
Yeah. They let their water pour out of something.
But the second was a sexagismal division of the day, not like an hour.
What the fuck is that? What I thought was more fascinating was that they started creating these like crazy like spring-like clocks, and they don't really know who made the first clock, but the thing was like ingenious, like the way it kind of like spun.
Oh, here he goes on your clock.
Like it was the precursor to the pendulum clock, where you like pull away.
You're using gravity to define how quick something is.
Is it just did those clocks work on the principle that
gravity is consistent?
The length of the
not necessarily
is such that
it is 9.8 meters per second squared.
Keep it
unless you're at if you're at sea level, it's different than if you're on the top of a mountain.
Did you go into the measurements of time?
So it's
in their smallest and largest.
I went to Planck's length,
right?
Which is what?
Yeah. What?
This is the distance it can travel in
light can travel in a Planck length,
which is I don't know,
about the size of a nucleus. Roughly. There's an actual, it's called a Fermi, whatever the hell a Fermi is.
We just talked about the definition of a jiffy.
Oh, damn, we're repeating time.
Big fan of the UnPanderers. He's dead.
He does watch.
Do we say jiffy in this episode?
So that one's like a theoretical measure. So like we're starting to get into like the physics of things. Like if you want
to, that's a real measure, isn't it?
It's true, but
theoretical. What the hell is
a jiffy?
Our second.
It's a jiffy.
If you want to project anything out in time, then you're using like pure time to judge it, which is I don't know how to say it. It's like a
what is it?
No.
I have no idea.
I'm not even saying like travel in time. Like if you say like 1 year from now I'm going to do this thing, like we already have a preset amount of time, and that's measured on the atomic clock.
So how do you measure
the value of time? I'm talking about the value of time.
Do you measure time in space?
Yeah.
Like if you're on the space station, or if you're not near an atomic clock, like there's no technology.
And we're talking about something that happens on Beetlejuice.
So
Beetlejuice.
You don't have a real sun. You don't have a.
I tried to say it third time.
Sorry.
Beetlejuice.
I wanted to say it 3 times. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like usually when we talk about like how long a planet takes to rotate around some random star,
our time, really.
It's our time. Like their reference time is completely different.
That's an interesting point.
Via time dilation and physics, isn't there?
Do you think other aliens, if aliens exist, that they think in our time? Or do you think they're really slow, really fast? Do you think they'd be mentally faster than us?
So they say that like things with smaller...
Is that possible? Because like our brains are electrical and chemical reactions, right? So we would probably, if we had the same chemistry, think in the same time frame.
Did you read how many heartbeats?
How many heartbeats what?
Hours, weeks, days. We're talking...
Is it similar? Is it similar in all?
Oh yeah, hold on.
I don't know. Like take a tree. Like if a tree wants to move,
drinking or something.
How long does it take to move?
Any of this podcast.
I've heard this argument. We made this argument that trees, etc., are
much smaller creatures, like a shrew or a hummingbird, as their heartbeat is much faster.
Oh yeah.
Now, what they realize is that if you space that out over the course of a species or an animal or an individual creature's life, they all tend to have the same amount of heartbeats.
I would counter that with saying that it's like more of a
10 million, 1 million, 100 million.
physical thing, like a mathematical equation that dictates how they operate. Like the different scenarios presented to them make them what they are.
Well, not asking you.
Right. I'm
I want to do it though.
Well,
But I don't think it's a choice. I think it's just like how they can grow in the situation they're provided.
Large.
No, right. How much water they can absorb at the same time, how much they can grow, how much they can
many heartbeats,
nutrients, sunlight, heat.
Right.
Show up what it.
You're getting sleepy. I see the eyes getting sleepy.
62 beats per minute, which I think is like a resting heartbeat. Over the course of 100 years,
that's a lot.
How many beats do you have?
A lot of years, yeah. That's like 3 billion heartbeats.
It could be a billion then, because your number might be flabbergasted.
Well, our heartbeats are
flabbergasted. I called your number flabbergasted.
I think turtles have slow heartbeats too, but they could live a long time.
So there is a graph that shows like heartbeats, and like the slower heartbeat lives longer.
We're getting a little off topic,
but people have refuted that for some reason, even though it looks like a fucking beautiful graph.
Pretty much the same thing, actually. Is that their time could be a lifetime? Like their
sorry,
lifetime
people,
could be our
you're
lifetime.
fucked.
Fuck them, folks. Fuck them.
You've been fucked, but I'm apologizing.
Like a fly might only live like a day, but a day to a fly might be 100 years.
Right, but then do they have seasons? So they don't have seasons.
Yeah, so their gauge of time does not involve planetary observations.
Which is interesting. So are we the perfect time noticers? Or do you think if we span out our life to, let's say, 1,000 years, we would notice other patterns that happen very much? And we just don't really pay attention to them because we live to be
Does this go to like cicadas and locusts?
Start noticing like certain comets come by. You're like, oh,
I don't know.
Like they wait
again.
Several years to become
your weather, does it?
A fucking
beast. 7 or 11, isn't that where?
Yeah.
That's like the weirdest number I ever heard.
Seasons are pretty big deals.
Like, cicadas, 11 years. It's like
everything about the surface of the earth.
What?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
How do they tell time?
You might miss that. Probably you're looking at the ground for like
11 years. Or
maybe it could be like volcanic eruptions or something. Like maybe those are
every 11
figured it out
or 7 years.
I would think so.
Right.
Figured it out though. You don't think?
That's like the swarm of locusts when you actually looked at the stat that it could go from like California to like
where they made the first
Oregon to like
they just
North Dakota.
I don't know who did it.
That's how big the swarm was.
So before that, we have no recompense of time.
Yeah,
I mean, no way. I thought you were saying it. How about species and like extinctions and stuff?
You can't tell the difference.
That would be a crazy thing too. Like if you could exist longer than almost every species, you'd be able to tell how soon a species would die. You're like, you're a flawed.
Like,
because a fly has no idea that you were going to die.
Give him 10,000
as a human being.
Let's place bets. Place your bets now.
I don't know.
Whole species gone.
Do you need a knapsack?
Crazy thing to think about though. That a fly is like having like so many thoughts every like half a second. He's just like.
Is it? Do you think? Do you think they have more thoughts, or do you think just there's more weight in their thoughts?
I don't know. When I try to swat one out of the air, I swear it knows more than I do.
Shit.
This is a good.
Weird.
This is good.
Up before one of our very first podcasts. I'm really good at swatting flies.
Really good. Like, I literally am one of the best people in the world.
I wish I had like cuts. Like if someone could go through and just like cut out the pieces where you say like ridiculous statements. I'm really good at tennis balls. Like, it's just like swatting flies. I can throw a tennis ball. Wall.
The trick is I try and perceive the pattern it's doing, which isn't always a pattern. It's more like what we're talking about. Picturing something over a longer span of time.
Yeah, perfect
they
moment
fly
to strike.
In a certain way, and the movements are erratic, but it's always moving in one direction. And when you swing at it, you have to figure their senses are such that they're going to see it before it gets there. You want to be where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So if it feels movement, like it's near a wall, and you're swinging at it here, it's going to fly away from the wall because it's whatever. So your thought.
I like how you're breaking down how to swat a fly.
So it's going to try and get up or away or move. And
look, its three-dimensional movement vector is really subtracted by how much I'm going to hit it by, and it's going to die instantaneously when I rip off its wings.
Excuse me. I got all into it.
As you finish sketching on a notebook where it's going to be.
It works.
Yeah, you just sketch the entire fly's family and its tears. I got it.
So here's something a little interesting that has to do with what we're talking about.
Sure.
A little interesting.
A plunk time.
Plonk.
The time it takes for one plonk to be covered in a...
Wait, that was recorded?
That burp? Smaller than a...
retort burp.
Was that you or me?
That was you.
It's the smallest distance. Pretty much imagine.
Yeah.
It's 1 times 10 to the negative 44.
44? Holy shit, dude!
No, theoretically.
Is that the shortest
0.
distance? A plot
That's
length is the shortest distance.
Goddamn.
Yes.
You do that right?
Half a nucleus, whatever.
I think so. That's how many seconds. Plot length.
There's so much happening.
Well, hold on. So what's interesting is
it's crazy how smart this podcast made me.
Millisecond, which is
it did. It made us study things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is 10 to the negative 3. Makes sense. 0.0001.
I can see it in my parents. Like parents have not tried to learn anything new.
0.001.
And it's just like they're wasting away. But like you learn something new that's genuinely interesting.
Do you know what the
you
largest
feel like you've
measurement of
paused time in a way.
It's called a Yoda second.
Interesting. Did not know about this. Yoda second? Why is it still in seconds?
I have no idea. Anyway.
Star Wars. Go.
And it used to be called a Yoda second. They changed it.
That's with like a J, though, isn't it?
Second. Hell yeah.
They changed it to YOTTA. I'm not sure. I think because of Star Wars.
That's like the yottabyte or whatever. Like the exabyte.
Well, it's 1 septillion. So it's 10 to the plus 24.
24.
It breaks down, that many seconds breaks down to...
I wonder if I go into like...
31 quadrillion...
Programming.
556 trillion, 925 billion, 445 million...
So, blah, blah, blah. So there's programming when you're referencing in time, and there's like a modern epoch, which is like 1970.
Wait, you're going to talk about that.
I am.
So let me break this down just in what we talked about right
there. Yeah, you talk about this.
So that number of seconds... 10 to the plus 24 seconds.
That's because, like,
how many
the libraries that you reference are called Yoda time or Yoda time, whatever you call it.
I'm just trying to give a spitball here because it's not that important, but it's a lot.
Seconds in Yingling. That's the first thing. It's 3.5 for e to the 7th. Second from here.
Okay.
It's like a million seconds.
Okay. Million-ish. Seconds
ish 30 million seconds.
Okay.
So, I don't know, somewhere around there.
Anyway,
you look more youthful.
What's crazy is that 10 to the 24 seconds
and fatter.
You look fatter.
More youthful.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I agree.
You can be chubby and beautiful, and then towards the end, you can't be chubby and beautiful.
10 to the negative 44.
10 to the negative 44 helium in the universe.
The thing by 20.
What's the number? How much helium?
Yeah,
10 by 10 to the
10. Yeah, it's like 10 to the 60.
It's H though.
Like we don't even have a scale for understanding that.
Helium.
The size of the small amount of time is mind-boggling. Like
I'm kind of curious what the size of a nucleus is, and then multiply that by
math. Multiply by math.
I don't even know.
I should have just said that.
I was going to say error. What we're getting at, though, is that the smallest and the greatest lengths of time...
You can tell when we're both stretching.
Right now, I think the drinks have been kicking in. We're like,
we don't know what we're talking about. Well, we might have an idea where we're going, but we don't. We can't fill in the gaps.
Like,
if it wasn't abstract.
Let's say it wasn't. Let's say time is real, which we can't prove one way or the other.
Will this ever be popular?
Everything going on in a 1 second time frame? Could you explore everything going on in a 2 second time frame? Could you explore everything that could happen in a negative 10 to the negative third time frame? Like, there are all these time frames where things could be happening and we don't even know. I find that fascinating.
I jitter a lot. Do I do that again where I like...
We can't be in a simulation because
I do that sometimes, but do I continue to do it?
Happening.
Depends on the scenario. Smart scenario.
Is it... So is time infinite?
Do you want to fall asleep on the little couch right there?
Die. For the species.
So until we stop measuring it.
But
9:15. We get in at 9, Nick.
Probably have to adopt time, wouldn't they? They'd figure out that stuff.
You got an extra 15 minutes at the end of the day.
I give props to English majors and time in general.
Got to work full day tomorrow?
Time.
No, it's I work 6 days a week.
Let me change gears here.
Good. I'm sorry.
So you have some free time.
Well, this is more.
I was thinking about this.
Meaning
if
driving him to school,
so it's more like
if people lived until they were 200 years old.
No, fuck that. I don't want to deal with people who are over 150 years old. They know what's going on. Oh my god! It's like, go away. I wish you were dead.
It's really, really high, but also very, very low.
Would the retirement age like go up? Do you think they'd retire at like now 150?
Yeah, of course.
All the time in the world.
Do you think people would notice?
Which is
they'd remember shit from so far ago that it would be like,
remember when we had wooden nickels? And it'd be like,
rotary phones. You're like, it doesn't matter, man. And you're like,
it's like fish.
Man, do you want to live forever in this body? And they're like, rotary phone.
Honestly, if you're talking to 100 and say like you're talking to like a 200-year-old right now, 1818, like that would have gone before what, like the United States was just formed, like 1776. We had just gotten over the Civil War, and it's like,
the Civil War has just ended.
But then I learned just yesterday to rush and never waste the day. Well, I'm convinced the whole day long that all I learned is always wrong, and things true that I forget, but no one taught that to me yet. That's just interesting.
Call Nick from
people
the
are like,
past.
slow down, smell the roses, enjoy time, live life. And everyone else is like, in the same breath, you have to hurry up. Life is fleeting.
you have to get to the
You
goal.
don't have what you have. Take advantage. Go. It'll be
The
over
carrot
before you know
you were
it.
talking about earlier.
You get conflicting messages about
Chasing
time all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's. I'm gonna go a slightly different direction. But I feel like people like to get.
It's funny because you could fall asleep right now, and I can continue this episode.
Moving fast is good. Maybe if you're trying to get to a destination. But most people probably.
I'm going to torture you by listening to it.
They're just doing the same thing over and over again really fast.
Because I'm pretty wide awake.
And they don't realize that you can just stop and realize that there's another aspect of life or a different direction to go into, and it'd be a happier path.
I'm going to bring down some chips.
I don't know that time, though. I agree with you.
Eat some chips.
People tend to just want to do
distract us
the same
with
thing over and
chips
over
as he
again,
bites into
more
them.
effectively, more efficiently.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about
really
it's gonna make me
better
hungry
thing
too.
would be to just stop and do something else sometimes.
Yeah, like a corporate environment. Like today, there's a shutdown, which is completely different than any other day. And if it were just
a year and a half ago.
I'm going to break it down to like weeks. Like if weeks were
there was a shutdown
5 working days and 2 non-working days every single day, like every single week was the same exact frame of mind. There's no holidays. There's no difference. There's no days off.
5-2, 5-2, 5-2. A pattern.
I feel like people would be stuck in a different kind of rut, and they would never find something new, grow and change, and become better, happier. I feel like we go crazy if it was
like people becoming a system.
If we had the same day back to back, like Groundhog Day, we would go completely nuts.
I'm hating that crunch.
So I'll hit you with
we're never gonna mute him.
Sure.
One of which is I always assume.
What did I miss?
What if nature was?
I was talking about the systematic nature of living life and going to work in a systematic way.
Mm-hmm.
People zoning out and just becoming a robot or a zombie or whatever you want to call it.
Why rotate the same speed?
Yeah, I wasn't listening.
Why do the same things every year?
No, it's like going to.
I was being funny.
Right?
What if every year?
Crunch. We've only eaten in one episode, and I might have crunched something in one other episode. So Nick is about to do a sacrilege here. But if you made it this far, you probably don't care about the sacrilege of eating during a podcast.
Is that a human nature thing? Do you think humans want to do? We should do different things.
Silent crunching
Because it's good enough for nature. I'm just saying, buddy. Okay.
My friend talked about eating popcorn in movie theaters and how he feels ashamed of making noise when he eats popcorn. So he puts the popcorn in his mouth and slowly closes it as it gets soggy. And I felt so bad for him. I was like, that's part of the atmosphere of eating popcorn in a theater, is that you're allowed to make a crunch.
So what if us working 5 days and then 2 days vacation, 5 days, 2 days vacation for every day for the rest of our lives was better for us? How would you know?
If you were given the option of working every single day of the week and retiring like 50% earlier, would you do it?
Like, there's probably a period in the industrialized world where they just had every day work.
Because youth is valuable, right?
Like I couldn't conceive of that because there's just too much to do.
If you couldn't work at all, but you would enjoy the youth and then pay it off later.
When you had to work every day to just survive, I guess.
You're doing it right now.
You're crazy trying to get food. About time. You had to constantly hunt.
Is that
it's weird because then you would think
its
of
value is
differently because it'd be probably become a pastime.
Yeah. So what if I gave someone
start
who
to
was
enjoy
22
every day because it
all the
same kind of thrill and excitement,
commodities,
but you could do it different
and everything
as long as you did the same end result.
Like
you could gather berries one day, you gather this one day.
What if I gave you the perfect life at 22?
This one day, hunt one day.
I wonder how many of those natives back then were just like, God,
value it. You wouldn't appreciate it.
I'm tired of this.
Yeah, not at all.
Give me a
even if it was perfect.
I think
you would still try to go out and have
ultimate quality
sweet loving with as many women as possible. Because that's what you do at 22.
I always thought that was the scariest part of
your sex drive is going nuts.
Like crowds of people, if they're bored.
As I age slowly, I feel like
it's not that they're
I wish I could go back to those times because like the excitement is insane for like a guy.
But you couldn't go back to it right now.
As a 30-something-year-old.
Right.
No.
Try to enjoy them.
I'd have to be my stupid self to go back to it. And then not know how to do it and not know how to get into a real relationship and just fumble around.
Jeez. They're emo teenager animals.
Yeah. Just go off and do their own thing and they're like, screw it. I'll starve. Who cares?
You don't see that a lot.
I just watched a lot of Planet Earth and like none of that.
Which one do you watch? Two?
Both of them. First
Did you see the lizards running from the snakes?
Lizards running from the snakes.
Oh man, there's so many snakes in that valley.
Everyone knows that, man.
Last night or 2 nights ago,
I
watched it, and I was like, and the one they all catch it, and they're like, oh, it's over, and then he's like, he's free, and it's like, he's just flipping his little arms. That's one of my favorite videos.
I feel like you can really feel the lizard's perspective. He's just like.
Well, did you? I think to set that up because I just saw it 48 hours ago. It was really funny because it's like all he has to do is not move.
Oh yeah, to a British accent.
Yeah. Bad at vision. They can only see movement. He should just keep his calm. And there's like this moment where he's looking and the snakes are like right in front of him.
Oh yeah.
And there's like six snakes like slowly moving blindly towards it.
He dies in that, doesn't he? He doesn't.
No, he survives.
He does make it
to the cliffs. And he jumps up the rocks.
He survives.
And like the slow-mo.
3 verse 4, old Dan.
At the last minute.
Flailing.
You're wrong.
Now they do show like 3 to 4 to 5 of his brothers that get.
Oh yeah, that's probably what I was remembering.
Right, but that's a funny damn video. But anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, none of those animals are very bored. They're very very entertaining.
They're all completely honed into the moment. It's crazy.
It's weird, but fighting for your life.
Weird. Do animals get bored?
Is entertainment in itself.
I think I look at apes, and apes are just sitting there like.
If
they're in a zoo, I mean, yeah, I've seen an ape jack off and then also pull poop out of its own butthole and eat it. So I was like, is that boredom? Is that what you revert to when you get super bored? You're just like, oh, I wonder what
I don't know, but
this tastes like. And it's just like a nice long stringy piece.
Scripted at all. Like the amount of snakes that come out of that canyon, it's like, oh my god! There's a snake around every little nook and cranny. There's like a snake coming out of it. It's like a nightmare.
They all show up at once. They're like,
"This is a snake party."
Snake
party. Chicks.
Dude, we were talking about snakes a lot.
So I kind of want to go to like the Greeks. They had chronos.
Oh, chronos and kairos,
which is like
kairos.
A quantity of time. It is like every minute, every hour, every day, every month. You can quantify it.
The kairos, quantity and quality of time.
Special meaning. which is about perceiving time and deciding that you need to do
more with
act upon it. Like it's not that time is acted upon you; it's that you're deciding what to do with your time and making yourself better because of it. The time
for the
to
rest
act.
of your life, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's life or like what you're doing day to day. You could decide to do something more interesting or.
When I say that, I feel like my son is going to watch this episode and
decision.
Like take that message with him. Do you get that ever?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to divert.
Never. Not going to watch it ever.
Well, no.
I don't know if that's too personal.
I'd save it because once I start, I'll start saying everything and.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
They've taken the whole episode. They've taken the whole mantra, the whole feel.
He really hates
and then what he told everyone it was. They just hold you down.
I'm gonna get chips, and a year from now, I'll be like, you'll be talking and be like, "Can I get some chips?" And be like,
last chip.
"Do you mind if I pop some popcorn?"
Now people are gonna be confused about what we're talking about. They used to say that it feels like almost like an intervention, but with like 30 of your classmates.
Were you doing it early?
I haven't told my coworkers that I have a podcast yet.
That, like,
I'm debating
Don't
whether.
tell them now. Don't tell them now.
500 guys.
Oh my god, that's crunchy.
And I'll cycle through like maybe once a month. No, it has to be quicker than that. Every 2 weeks, they must have had a kairos, where we all try to like find each other or something, figure ourselves out. But it was like a secret.
Catholic schools have this.
Really?
You know, it's a little bit of a brainwash too. The music they play and like the way they approach things. They're just like, it's fine.
I thought it was
just share. You know,
now,
it's a sharing environment, and I'm gonna play
like,
Enya.
You know what
what
was
they
marked
do
down
on
for?
these events?
What was that?
Like,
I was marked down.
I think they call them religious.
You were marked down?
Like had one, I think.
Yeah, it was the first one.
Personally, I think they should
step
just
up
let
and
you like
break
live out
the
in the
mold.
college dorm for like.
What the hell does that mean?
Like that would have the
same
same
results.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
the
you
first
start bonding with people and you'd be
non-kairos
like, I don't
person
even
to
know
go
who
up
you
and
are,
hug
but
whoever
now you're
was
awesome.
telling a story.
You're so right.
Just put some hash. on
You
the
told a
table
story
and
without being
let's
a
just
previous
play some guitar.
Kairosian.
Oh yeah.
Other way
I
around.
think that's the feeling.
They told a story, and I was the first person to go up and hug him who wasn't.
Oh.
Which doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that's.
Doesn't allow you the time to take a break.
Was that genuine?
Up and make a kairos.
Doesn't allow it. Time doesn't allow
Both.
It was.
Like it was like.
Well,
You're perceiving
You know
yourself
why,
as the third person.
time always goes
A
Press
little
X
bit.
to pay respects.
backwards or
Yeah.
goes up or down.
I don't know. I've been doing
So
a
good.
lot of programming lately, and the way they keep time is from the
What was the story?
Press X.
which is like the 1970s. They do milliseconds
it
from
was
the
actually,
1970s. So every equation that you do reverts back to like when.
I remember mine was Rob had
So
a sibling who had Down syndrome, and he told the story about that Down syndrome sibling.
Whether
And at the end of it, you're just like, that's terrible. Like, no one wants to live life that way, but you have to love that person,
How many milliseconds are we from the
and you
epoch?
can't feel like
I
you
have to
know,
look up.
Who
ashamed
was
of
the
them.
first
But I
person
mean,
to go up
you
and
can
hug?
copy and paste
That
it
was
or
the
something
minute.
every time, or does it not?
I'm not
ever,
an
or you don't
initiator.
feel it,
I'm
you
also
just
not
type in
an
epoch
awareness
and
of
it does the work
initiators.
for you,
I
or
just
what?
kind of.
It's part of every
let things happen.
every computer that you.
But I'm genuine
are on.
about it.
It's measuring time from that.
Right. Sure, and that's why 2K
it's
was
like,
going to be
hey,
a problem.
I'll give you a
because,
hug.
some computers
pal.
weren't programmed for 4 digits in the year, right? Is that why?
Yeah. and
So what
then
was the
I
story?
Confused which
You remember
days
the story?
we were
Go
on.
back, right.
Yeah, which was almost a
It's okay,
hoax
no one will
until
follow
you,
along with what we're
start
talking about
researching
anyway.
The companies that went under because they
I agree.
couldn't reprogram the code.
Our we bought computers like in '97
Computers.
Uh-huh.
to our company, and they all died.
So we're about
all your
1.5
computers
billion
died?
milliseconds from the epoch.
Because of
People
Y2K?
say epoch, but I don't like
The
to
ones that A&E did.
syllabicize.
Wow.
You just did.
I think you're the only person ever to say that a Y2K computer actually affected them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
100%.
crazy. It's crazy to think about that measure of time will go on. And
All of them?
When will that measure of time die?
We only had like 3 or 4.
I'm gonna have to search that one.
All running on the same
It's gonna take a
program.
while
So
to
yes.
fill the dead
Yes.
silence
You
of
did.
typing.
I will. The reason
You
time
didn't prepare for
moves
Y2K.
forward in perception and everything else
Oh, who did?
is entropy.
Who did?
You know?
Everyone else.
So they're trying to measure when things will exhaust or something like that, right?
A little bit.
Let's do a projection. Like in a year, where do you want to be? This is like a bury your capsule in the sand type of thing. Unearthed in a year.
So that things
It's all buried in the
aren't
sand
created as
thing.
much as they are.
When I'm dead, I don't
Does that make
care.
sense? Like the universe
Like,
is headed
I think
towards
what I
one
give
big
is
mix of
You better not
pretty
die.
good
Heat
insight.
death of the
much
universe,
older.
everything becomes the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
When
space
it's
is going to mix
over?
with planets, is going to mix with this. Like all these molecules that we talk about, like we make a planet here, we have this here, energy here, we
Wait.
have this here, we got
Let's get you a new job, make
forces
more
here,
money,
Sparks are here, gas
can have bigger balls,
But eventually, it
get
all
injections to make them
over
bigger.
time,
You know,
all
whatever you
spread out,
whatever you
all these
need,
molecules
whatever
go
you need,
wherever,
Nick.
and now we got just one big a huge thing.
Do you think anyone would say anything if your balls were like 4 or 5 times bigger? Like it'd be like a woman's breast, but like they'd be in the way of things.
Life whatsoever.
Like your pants would have a special sack for them.
Hey, I love this. Oh,
Yeah.
these balls are huge.
It's
5,000.
What was that? Oh my God, Becky! Look at his balls.
That's why the UnPanderers and I got 2
Could they fire you over, sir?
And
your balls are way too large for a natural human being.
And I was like, okay.
These are how they grew.
Went up, so. But if you type
After I
into
injected them with some
Wiki
serum.
the timeline of the far future.
Chinua Achebe.
Things you
What
can
was that?
Chinois Achebe.
I think that's Things Fall Apart.
Things Fall Apart. Chinois Achebe.
Technology and culture. An astronomical
Bumblebee tuna.
timeline of what they predict will happen
Bumblebee tuna.
with fairly certainty. Nothing like specific. What will happen and what year it will happen. Like, for instance, 10,000 years from now, the red supergiant Antares.
Do you think it'd be more natural to have like balls that were just larger? Like if your balls filled out your sack,
pretty sure, and
would the skin become smooth all of a sudden?
With visible, yeah, cool. 25,000 years from now,
not at all. You don't believe it. You don't attest to that theory.
They figure within 50,000, could be 25 to 50,000 years.
We should really have ball protectors, though, shouldn't we?
Of the
It's getting kicked in the balls.
Cycle happen. Cool.
Smelly for
I don't know. But some of these are really cool. Like, oh, check this one out. 100,000 years, native North American earthworms, such as mega whatever, actually spread north.
I think you're coming back.
Upper Midwest,
I think you are. I have faith.
Border, recovering from Laurentide ice sheet glaciation, which I guess happened during the Ice Age. It chased them all south. Like they wouldn't grow north of a certain spot in America, but with
about 15 minutes
going up, and this is assuming a migration rate of 10 meters per year.
A slow procession northward because of the recession.
Did I mention that unit of measurement based on glaciation?
It's just a cool list.
It's like a Bovnov unit.
And you're really cool. Like, check this one out. 250,000 years.
You're talking about the end of the
youngest volcano in the Hawaiian Emperor Seamount chain will finally rise above the ocean and make a new island for Hawaii.
Shit.
So those are the types of things you would see if you were not restricted to 100 years. You live like thousands of years.
Correct. I don't know if they're cyclical or like you notice anything, but they would be cool to see, I guess. I'm trying to find a real badass one.
We'll go back to
1 million years, Earth will likely have undergone a supervolcanic eruption large enough to erupt 32,000 kilometers to the third volume of magma, an event comparable to the Toba super eruption.
Oh, Toba.
Oh, well.
Yo, Beetlejuice, the star we referenced earlier.
Oh, wow.
1 million years, guys.
You said Beetlejuice?
I did say Beetlejuice. I mean, Beetlejuice the star.
Okay.
Beetlejuice. It will explode in a supernova. Check this one out. The explosion is expected to be visible in daylight. That's pretty cool.
That's scary because, like, I feel like so many people will look up at it and just sear their retinas.
Well, no, I mean, because the explosion probably lasts like months. I think it's just gonna like look like an exploded thing in the sky that you can see during daylight.
That'd be so crazy if like everything was washed out with sunlight and you just couldn't even like, you'd be like, for like years you couldn't even see. Like, I hate this. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
I will say that that's an interesting thing that we never ever thought. Like,
so I was talking about the epoch.
I never thought about synths
and milliseconds.
And you're about to spill some secrets because you're falling asleep.
Used a 32-bit integer, which it's programmed.
If light was just brighter for like a year, and everyone was just like, "Oh god,"
2038,
like that would completely change everyone's perspective.
Program what they did.
Really? Because it's so would they have to go to 64-bit?
Yeah, so they have to go to Y238.
Wait, is that what it's called? Y238?
No, but I just named it that.
Pretty cool. Yo, UnPanderers, Y238.
What's it called?
Yeah.
Y238.
In the future, and we're talking about like Beetlejuice, and you can see it in the sky. Shout out these guys.
Is that the year? When does Beetlejuice was explode?
Send it to our heirs, which will have.
No, I don't care about them. Honestly, let them work for it. Send it to us. Go back in time.
Yeah, put it aside so that you can go back in the future and give it to us right now. When the time travel was invented.
So, do you want to talk about time dilation at all?
We could. I don't know.
My favorite thing about time.
Go ahead.
Funks me up big time.
Good. Go.
So, anyone who's seen Interstellar, starring Matthew McConaughey, big fan of the podcast.
This is gonna piss me off.
Why?
I hate that movie. Go.
I thought it was alright. It tackled one of my favorite things.
It'll just be a very, very bright star when it explodes. It won't be like a second sun.
At a certain speed, time passes differently for you than someone else at a standing reference point, or reference point slower than your own.
So this is one
10 times the distance away to actually cause us to have a second sun.
This is probably the exact reason it drives you nuts.
Won't harm us.
This is probably true, but the faster you move...
It's true. They put atomic clocks in spaceships that go around the Earth, and they have different numbers than the ones that sit here on the surface of the Earth.
I believe that's true, but the atomic clocks are traveling so fast that the vibration has to.
I feel like you want to skip to the end, Nick.
Than the clocks on the ground.
Sure, I don't care why.
Was that a yes?
What I'm getting at is that time will pass differently. I don't know.
See how we ended this. Go to the last 2 minutes. Last minute.
I don't know about that.
Whatever. I'm not gonna argue with you.
Our measurements of time will become slower.
There we go.
Ooh.
Go in the last minute here.
You're never gonna get away.
You can't even get like a job in like a small town in Nowheresville anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. Times they are a changing.
You definitely had more vibrance back then, Nick.
Talking about.
I did. I literally went more up and down. I agree.
For listening. We are the UnPanderers.
What happened to you?
We got a lot of socials. We got a lot of places you can donate money to.
You need a new job.
Headphones.
You need to make better money so you can take it easy. Recoup your energy.
Well, I mean, I had this money.
Become vital again. Get your vitality back. You need a talisman.
That's a good episode. I like the talisman. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
We like it.
We like it
a lot.
We do like you.
Ting. Ting. Tinkerty tank.
Tinkerty tonk.
Tinkery talk?
Tinkerty tonk.
Boop.
Ba-doop. Boo. Wow.
We did good?
I don't know. Somebody couldn't hold it together for the whole episode. I guess you can't see. Can you see? No, you can't?
No, not at all.
You good now?
Oh, still.
That's okay. Just me. You can go to sleep now, Nick. Don't die on me in the next year.
I gotta take him to school tomorrow.
And then you get to sleep? Are you gonna sleep it?
Soon.
Soon? Are you gonna... I do notice that they're, like... Personal story. My son is waking up quite a bit in the middle of the night, multiple times, and destroying my consistent sleep. And when I do actually get to sleep for, like, an extended period of time, like 4 or more hours in a block without someone bothering me or waking me up, I feel different and it feels weird. You're like finally like, whoa, like this isn't how you're supposed to feel every day. And you look around and you're just like, I can actually like, I feel receptive and things make sense and
suddenly sharp and like poignant and
that sort of shit doesn't happen for like, I mean, it doesn't happen when the baby's born for about 6 months, and then 6 months to like 9 months, you're like, you can sleep like that because for some reason they sleep really well. And then after 9 months, they fuck all your shit up and they just don't let go until much later in life. And then responsibilities take charge, and then you have to do a whole bunch of shit that is just tedious. Love my family, but it's tedious shit. So I could see it in your eyes that you need to fucking sleep. And you need to fucking sleep like a whole fucking lot.
This is my 6th day of work in a row.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's my first day off ever.
You're going back to like the 1800s. Go work in a mine. Go carve some coal out of the earth. Go shake hands with the devil. get the black lung and say, fuck cancer, I'm going to live until I'm 60.
I agree.
Get some new lungs so I can breathe this fresh air and go out and party.
All right.
Hopefully you just paid yourself.
Catch you on the flip side.
All right, Nick. We're going to say goodbye. After, it's double me. He's about to pass out. He's got to wake himself up. Good night.